5 years and still talking. This is GABNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey, this is the Ramble. I am Alex, and we're coming to you from the most infected city in the world. Right? Right. Ladies and gentlemen, out to California, out to San Francisco, out to a man who feels like he's living in a jail cell during this duration of this thing that's going on. It's Larry Bubbles Brown. How you holding up, Larry?
How you doing, Alex? I was just thinking that you said a jail cell. I during this nightmare, I realized I would not do well in prison. I don't know about you, but maybe prison is cruel and unusual punishment.
Well, I do great in prison because I'm not as pretty as you are.
Yes, I'm considered good-looking by men in prison.
Yeah. I wouldn't do good in prison either. I mean, something. Well, if it were like one of those federal minimum security prisons, I suppose I could hack it. But a cell like in San Quentin, forget it.
Most of the people on death row, you're in I think it's like a 4 by 12 foot cell.
Well, I had a guy I knew on death row, and he said it was something like he was very tall, and he said his feet stuck out through the bars when he slept. Yeah.
So, and they keep them in there 23. They're allowed out for an hour, and they're in there 23 hours a day.
Yeah.
So most of them literally go insane after a few years.
Well, I mean, I can't imagine, living under those circumstances. And I don't know why somebody hasn't argued that it's inhumane. I mean, yes, okay, the guy's in there for murder. He's in there on death row because they're going to execute him, which in California they never get around to doing. And you're in there, as you say, 23 hours a day. And why you're gonna execute the guy? Why do you have to make him have a living death while he's there? Yeah. Why do you have to make him welcome death? You know what I would do? I always suggest.
Yeah, I think the death penalty is actually more humane than that.
Well, what I would do, okay, this is just my take on it. I don't know if you would agree, but if we put somebody on death row, I think death row should have a great buffet, a lot of television, everything you want, Netflix, the whole thing. I think they should let you out maybe, 23 hours a day to go run in fields. Okay, so that when you're finally executed, you're actually going to feel you're missing something.
Yeah, good point.
But when you stick a guy in a cell that's 4 by 12 or something like that, and you put him in there for like 22, 23 hours a day, by the time you execute him, it's a blessed relief.
Oh, sure. Remember, you know how they do it in Japan?
How's that?
When you're on death row in Japan, they don't tell you the day you're going to be executed, so you think it could be any morning you wake up.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, you like that?
Well, I don't know, but is that more is that inhumane, or is it more humane than telling somebody you're dying on Wednesday?
I think in Japan you might be freaking out. Oh God, tomorrow's it.
Yeah, but they just don't tell you when, huh?
They don't. They just come up to the door. This is it.
Do they? I didn't know they had a death penalty in Japan.
They do. They just used it recently. It's very rare, but that's how they do it. And,
what is the form of execution in Japan?
I don't know how they do it there, because I just read about this guy that just got the death penalty fairly recently, and yeah,
Like, what
You
country
don't
did
know
I
the
hear that the form of death penalty was getting you married?
Or sending you to Kaiser.
Sending you to Kaiser.
Another senseless Kaiser joke. Remember Warren Thomas's joke about the last meal on death row? He said he'd just eat everything he could, just so when he died he'd shit all over and they had to spend days to clean it up.
Yes, right. Do you know it used to be that they had that you can make a request for your last meal?
You still get that, I think. You get anything you want,
Oh, really? You still do?
Yeah.
Oh.
My friend Patrick McDermott said I would get my last meal to go.
Oh, okay, fine. that makes sense. No, what would you have for your last meal?
Well, I get a real Coke, not a Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Probably a veggie burger and fries.
Really? Is that it?
Yeah, nothing special.
You want to die rather in a mediocre way, right?
Yeah, you're really gonna feel like in my life, of course. Do you really feel like you're gonna want to eat something when the day you're gonna die?
Yeah. Well, I've been on a diet for so long. I think I probably got a hot fudge sundae.
Those are good. I haven't had one of those in years. Maybe one of those.
Yeah, hot fudge sundae, and I would get ribs. Ribs would be my food of choice. But the trouble with ribs is I have ribs, and then I have IBS, so I get the trots the next day. And every time I get it, I go, this is terrible, but it was worth it. You know, that's how I feel about ribs. So I love my pork ribs. By the way,
never had ribs. Never had them.
Never pork ribs. Never beef ribs though. I think beef ribs are a total waste. You know, if you're gonna do it anti-kosher. You know, you've never had
Maybe
ribs. You've never
maybe
had
a bat.
a bat. I'd have a bat and then breathe on everybody. Yeah. What? Why? You never had ribs?
No, just the thought of gnawing on a bone seems a little disgusting to me. But
Really? Are you vegetarian?
I was for 3 years. Now I shun red meat, but I do eat turkey burgers.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. You know, because I maybe thought you weren't necessarily a vegetarian, and I guess you're not at this point. But I just think that being a vegetarian is denying yourself one of the fine pleasures in life, which is gnawing on animal flesh. You know?
But don't you feel sorry for the animals?
I don't know them. You know, I was mentioning to Marjorie the other night that there was a movie that I saw years ago called The Culpeper Cattle Company, and it's about a kid who meets up with a bunch of cowboys who are herding cows. So he joins them on the what do you call it, the herd or whatever they call it thing, where they take the animals and take them out to send them to St. Louis or whatever. And he's standing there with the guy, and he's got a horse, and he said, "What's the name of your horse?" And the guy said, "Kid, he doesn't have a name." And the kid says, "Why doesn't he have a name?" He says, "You never name anything you might have to eat someday."
That's in the movie?
Mm-hmm.
That's hilarious.
And I've always remembered that line because it's true. You never, like, if the reason it came up is Marjorie mentioned that she had a girlfriend who had a pet chicken. And then she came home one night and they were having chicken dinner and they didn't have the heart to tell her they cooked the chicken.
Oh, my God.
They'd given it to her as a chick, and of course it grew up into a chicken, and they said, "Hey, it's time to eat it," you know. So, so then I told her the story about you never name something you might have to eat someday. But it's true, you know. So it's pretty cool. But Anyway, we're living in these times that I honestly think that this is every science fiction movie I ever saw about
Absolutely.
doomsday.
It's the War of the Worlds.
Well, in War of the Worlds, we had aliens attacking us, but in this case, I'm thinking more like Last Man on Earth with Charlton Heston. Where it's just the whole world's gone into chaos, and nothing's left except you and the people who are left have turned into zombies, basically. I see that coming. I see that a pandemic, a really, really bad pandemic, and this is bad enough, but I'm talking about a really bad pandemic, could wipe out the entire population of the world. And in the meantime, while it's getting bad, there is this this absolute breakdown of society. Now we don't have a breakdown of society now, but if this goes on for too long, it's going to start happening.
It's interesting that our society started to break down as technology took off.
Well, yet the technology right now is what's saving us. Not saving you, but it's saving the rest of us. No, because grandma can talk to the kids because she can't go over and see them on Sunday. Once she learns how to operate FaceTime, it's allowed us to continue communication. Marjorie goes to work every day. She's got a computer over here. It's linked up to her computer at work, and she's every day she's doing her job. She's working from home. We couldn't have done that without technology. So if this kind of thing was going to happen, now is maybe the best time for it to happen.
And this is just a small pandemic.
This may be small compared to what could come. Yeah, and we should be ready for it. We should have everything in place that if another pandemic comes along, we're not going to have the devastation that we have now. But as long as you got people saying, "Oh, we can't reopen because we got to reopen because the economy's falling apart." Well, the economy's going to fall apart anyway if everybody's dying like crazy. So take your choice: human life over the economy. I'll take human life every day, every time.
Well, maybe nature is trying to weed out our overpopulation.
Well, what's this going to do to our social ethic? I mean, do you think really there are going to be comedy clubs anymore?
It's going to be a while before our sporting events. When will people want to go to a packed room?
Exactly. I think movie theaters are through. In fact, I just saw a thing where the movie theaters, where the movie companies are making more money off of video on demand than they would have made if the movie had been in the theater. So they're beginning to see a new form of distribution that excludes the motion picture theater. So,
Well, that would be a shame.
It would be a shame, but then would it be? They charge so much for them now, and, there's always somebody kicking the seat in back of you, and then you've wound up paying $20 to go see a picture that sucks, and you didn't know it sucked before you paid the They get their 20, they don't take their $20 after the picture is over and say, well, if you liked it, it's $20.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If that were the case, they'd be making more better movies. So it's just I think our whole society will change. We're not changing after. We're up for a complete change after this. And how it's going to manifest itself, I have no idea. But I don't know how trusting people will be of crowds anymore.
Yeah, baseball is talking about playing games in empty stadiums this summer.
Yeah, or if they go back, they're going to have to cut the amount of seating down. They can't afford to do that. That's going to cost them money. Movie theaters will have to put seats further apart. That will cost them money. So, nothing's going to be the same as it was. because we've and people are also starting to learn whole new paradigms of the ways of acting. You sit home, you watch a movie on Netflix. You don't go to a movie theater to see it. You know, so it's really, it's a mess. It's a mess.
Some of those old theaters, though, are so majestic, some of them.
Like Bubbles Brown used to say, we're all gonna die. Yeah. Well,
I was right.
I was right. Life is hell.
True.
Yeah, kiss your ass goodbye. Yeah. Wow. Well, hey, listen, we've run out of time again.
Yeah, and literally.
I'll talk to you in a couple of weeks if I'm still alive and you're still alive.
If we're still alive, we'll do this again.
Yeah, you wrote me a day ahead of time and said, we are seeing each other Tuesday, aren't we?
Right.
You know, and, you know, if you don't hear from me, I'm dead. And if I don't hear from you, you're dead. Okay? Otherwise,
Right.
we'll talk to two live human beings in a couple of weeks. Ladies and
You
gentlemen,
got it.
well, he'll be on next week, actually, if you're listening to this. Larry Bubbles Brown. Thank you very much, Larry.
5 years and still talking. This is GABNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
And there's Larry Bubbles Brown. We love Larry. Don't we love Larry? How much do we love Larry? We love Larry a lot, okay? And we'll have him on again next week. That one, by the way, that interview was from a couple of weeks ago because every time I was going to run it, something came up and I had to go to that rather than that interview. So then I did an interview with him last week, and so it was kind of very current. I played it on that day. So this one was like about, I think it was done on the 14th of the month or something like that. Anyway. You know, we do it this time every night. I hope there's a day when we don't have to do this anymore. We go to the map. Oops, that's not the map. It's stupid. I didn't want that. I want this. There we go. There's the map, folks. Da-da-da-da-da-da. And guess what it says? In the world, totally confirmed. These are confirmed now. This is not necessarily a correct number, but so it could go well over 4 million. But right now we're at 3,845,607 cases in the world, with 269,564 people who are no longer on this planet. They are under this planet. Or maybe they've been turned into crispy critters, which is what my wife wants to do to me when I go. That's what I have to look forward to, right? Next big operation's going into the furnace and getting singed. Anyway, and you know, it's amazing that we have that many deaths. This is worldwide. Now, they're starting to say that there are some more cases in Russia. As you can see, if I bring that up, it says in Russia confirmed 177,160, deaths 1,625. Now, we don't know whether we believe that or not, but they're now starting to. Oh, let me make this smaller again. There's a question as to whether that's correct. Okay, the Chinese numbers also, we don't know that they're correct. Here in the U.S., let's go to the U.S. number. Total confirmed 1,257,023. But in the deaths, forget about this global deaths. I don't know why it says global deaths up there, but this is the deaths in the United States. 75,662. Okay? Huh? How about that? That's not good. This New York number that's here, I think this is for all of the state of New York, is 26,144. I think that may be correct, but New York City is somewhere around 19,000 deaths so far. The death rate in New York City went down by about 2 or 3 people today. I think it was, I can't remember what it was yesterday, but it's down around 230, which is an improvement, but it kind of hasn't moved very much in the last couple of days. And we'd like to see that go down. I'd like to see that go to under 100. I would like to see it go down to 0. There are some countries now that are reporting 0. South Korea says it's reporting 0, but who knows? Spain has got problems too. They're at 26,070 deaths. Far less than us, but in percentage of population, not good, because out of the 221,447, 26,070, about roughly 10%, are dying. Italy supposedly has calmed down. They've kind of let people go out again, but they're at 29,958 dead, and 215,858 people in a lot of trouble. Supposedly Russia has jumped into a lead of about 5th place, but here it is. Here we go. See, here's Russia. Russia didn't come up at this point in a while before, but now, hold on a second. Let me bring up Russia. 177,160. That can't be right on the deaths, but we have let's see here. Where is it? Russia. Where are the deaths? I don't see them here. This is for some reason, they've changed this map, and it doesn't work exactly like we like it. U.S., by the way, if you look, here's the thing to look at. See this? Still going up. Now, New York is coming down, but the rest of the country is going up. So that's not good. That's not good at all. Anyway. I think that's enough depression for tonight. I think we can get away from the map. It's not. If we keep looking at the map, it's just going to depress us, and we don't want to do that now, do we? Okay. All right. Let me open up the Skype lines again. You know, I always have to wait to open up the Skype lines because there's a problem with people who, once they see that I have the active light on, okay, there it is, it's on now. When I don't have it on, they might still call, and if they still call, it will still ring, and I don't want it to ring while I'm trying to do a show. Here he comes, first guy every night, man. He is just so ready for us. He wants his spot. Okay, there he is, folks. Brian Neary. There you go, Brian. And here comes Hello. Phil Meyer. Let me see where he last night he was in 4th place, but no, he's not going to be outdone by Brian Neary. And Charlie Wallace. There we go with Charlie.
I never beat Neary to the punch.
You never beat Neary. No, let me put you in a spot here, so that I can because you usually were coming in. Oh, wait a minute. Let me see here. Is Jeff Zeller, did he come in the 2nd spot last night? No, he didn't. No. Who came in? Oh, Rob Alfano came in the 2nd spot last night. Okay. Well, let me see here. Scuba Diver goes in there, and there we go. There's Phil Meyer. God, I'm getting to be a real pro at this, you know? I'm not letting it daunt me that terribly.
I'm just happy to be able to log on now. So,
what was that? Were you what we would call impaired that way?
Yeah. I kept trying to call through a different way or something, and then I went on the GABNet live, and I tried to click onto that thing, and it rang, and you were probably yelling at me saying someone's trying to call through, and they don't know what they're doing. So Phil walked me through it.
Last night I was listening to Damien's show, and he was saying that, we use Skype. I don't know why we're still using Skype. And I'm going, because if you used Zoom, you somehow would have to be able to get that address out somewhere. You'd have to put it on your Facebook page or somewhere. Here I just say GABNet Live, and if you know how to run Skype, you just type in GABNet Live and you get here.
Now, I love Damien, but isn't it just his mom and one other caller?
Yeah, usually. And I wish more people would call him, but you don't know when his show is being done anymore. Sometimes he does it on Saturday. Sometimes he does it on Monday. You know.
Well, he would be better off using Zoom because he'd put out a call to action, and people would call.
No, but you put out a call to action, but you have to somehow get them that address that Zoom uses for you to get on.
You know, his mother knows where he lives.
No, I know, but I'm saying for other people. Like for instance, if he were to go on and say, "Okay, Zoom me," would you know where to get his Zoom address? No.
No, you'd have to send me a link.
Well, you don't have to do that. What I do is what I did the other day when I did a special show. Oh, you didn't know about that, did you, Phil? We did.
No, but if I did, I wouldn't have called anyway.
We did a special show in which we used Zoom and did it on Facebook, and I did it at like 4 PM. Charlie was there, and on the Facebook page I simply put the link, okay, and then it was easy for people to do. But absent that, you know, it's much easier just to say GABNet Live and hope that people know how to use Skype. It's a little more difficult for people like Jeff.
Alex, it would have to mean that I look at your Facebook page to see the link.
You look at it a lot because you keep sending me all this fucking shit.
No, and that's not on your Facebook page. That's on Messenger.
No, I hate that stuff.
You don't.
I just hate it. I hate it.
I'll send it by carrier pigeon next time.
Yeah, next time, shove it up your ass and then blow it out your ass.
Right. It disproves your stuff. Hey, you know, I'd love to hear, you know, what you think about that FBI investigation that's going on, where they've disproved that who is a general. Now all of a sudden I had a senior brain fart, but you know the
Kelly.
That, Kelly, yeah, is it Kelly that they got to admit wrongdoing?
Oh, okay.
Flynn.
That's it. Flynn. And now all of a sudden, you know, everybody that had convicted him and
no, wait a minute. You're getting this all wrong. But if you want to pass out bad information, go right ahead, Phil.
I'm passing out the information that you know the President of the United States and the people on Fox News are giving me, which is the truth.
To begin with,
nobody else wants to admit that.
To begin with, as opposed to our president, our former president, never had anything to do with it. Okay, had to do with this. All he did was warn Trump when he was coming into office and he was debriefing him. Wait a minute, let me finish.
Yeah.
Told him, watch out for Flynn. Okay, we think there may be something going on there. That's all he ever did. He never started an investigation against Flynn, nothing like that. Okay,
no,
well, wait a minute, let me finish. Secondly, Flynn admitted guilt. He pleaded nolo contendere, he pleaded guilty, right?
You know why?
But no, wait a minute. Let me finish. He pleaded guilty. The person that let him off is the Justice Department, not the FBI.
No, it was the FBI that staged a sham investigation.
No, that isn't what is being claimed.
Did you see the notes?
That is not being claimed. That is not being claimed.
It is. It's what's getting his not convict. Is it a conviction or did he just?
It's a conviction because he confessed.
Okay.
He made a plea.
Conviction expunged, and if you take 5 minutes.
Expunged. It was expunged by a Trump toady, who's the head of the Justice Department, Phil.
And the FBI agent that wrote down in the notes, you know, to crucify this guy, you know, and they made up the story.
The only thing that they said was, this is the reason they said that they did away with his conviction. Okay, is the Justice Department under what's his name, asshole Barr, this who was at Trump's bidding and would give him a blowjob if Trump asked. Decided that he was convicted for dealing with a foreign entity, But
The
they
low
proved,
cap.
wait a minute, but according to the Justice Department, he didn't do anything that jeopardized the country. Therefore, they were doing away with the conviction.
Now, wasn't
Basically, it was a pardon from Trump.
wasn't he? Well, no, it's
It was a pardon.
you'll see
It was a
that more is
pardon
gonna
from
come
a de
down.
facto pardon
Comey.
from Trump.
Comey was complicit in this, and I think that what's going to happen is Comey is going to have some backlash on this.
Comey wasn't complicit in anything here, Phil.
Yeah, because he prosecuted
Where are you hearing this bullshit?
Yeah. Okay.
Where are
Just
you? Well, no, I'm asking you for your source.
it's mostly Fox. That's where I'm going to get the truth.
Oh, really? Trump
Yeah.
doesn't think so. He hates Fox these days.
Well, he may hate it, but I don't.
Oh, well.
And, and I'm happy about.
So
seeing-
if Fox starts turning on Trump and starts telling their new version of the truth, you're going to believe Fox then, right?
well, so far, the people that are on there, I believe, and that's Hannity and
boy.
Ingram.
Well, I mean, you don't watch Hannity. You're on this show every night.
Have much more credibility than somebody like a Maddow or that Don Lemon piece of garbage. And especially some of our people in Congress, like Schiff.
Gee, you don't
I mean,
like women and black people, huh? Is that what it's all about?
Schiff?
No, you.
Oh, what are you saying? I don't like black
Because the
people?
two people you went after were a woman and a black guy.
A gay woman and a black guy.
Oh, okay, then a gay woman and a black guy. So you don't like
Yeah.
gays, women, or black guys.
Yeah, I don't like anybody. I don't like Jews.
Well, there are a lot of people that don't, and that's because they met you.
Hey, not to change the subject, but
But you're going to change the subject, aren't
I
you?
have to commend Jeff. I've mentioned this earlier to him that he has really shown that he's a 21st century man by taking on his wife's last name. Now, he's either wanted by the FBI or the fact that he's no longer Jeff Stein and he's now Jeff Zeller is a very, a very upstanding thing to do. And, I'm proud of you, Jeff.
You could be Phil Zeller also.
Everybody
You
else-
want it?
Phil Zeller. Yeah, okay. If I break the law, my new name is Phil Zeller.
I've
Okay.
had 3 names.
Yeah.
One. Yeah, I've had 3 names. So my
Okay,
original name, I was born Brian Joseph Stiff, Stiff.
Oh, that's a
So,
name you
but
didn't
it-
want to. You didn't want to go with, right?
Into porn, right? That would have been good.
Yeah.
So, and then my mom got divorced when I was like 3 years old. She got remarried, so I took over his name, and I changed my middle name to Brian Alfred Stevenson. And then that sort of fell through, and I really wanted to go back to our maiden name. That's why I went back to Neary, so Brian Alfred Neary. So
Yeah, but you
yes,
have
every once in a while, I get something from like IRS or something from Brian Joseph Stiff, and they still let me cash it. Weird.
Yeah, well, what's your nickname? You got a nickname, Brian.
Oh, Brian Bravo.
Brian Bravo. That's it. Yeah. Now, that's Butch.
Good name.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's what something happened today. What did asshole do today? The Charlie didn't the asshole do something today that was
I don't know. I wasn't watching the news today.
yeah. He I know what it is. Mr. I won't wear a mask.
Yes.
Okay. Turns out the guy who serves him dinner, a steward at the White House, came down with COVID.
Oh,
So, and he says, but I'm not worried because I took a test and I don't have it. No, you don't know you don't listen to the doctors. You don't listen to the information you get. Just put your hand down, Phil. You don't listen to your doctors. You don't listen to the people you should be listening to. Just because you didn't test for it doesn't mean you don't have it. It just means that it hasn't come to a point like 14 days later where it shows up on a test. You could have very well given it to all those Republicans down in Arizona when you were shaking hands with them. And quite frankly, I hope Trump gets it. I hope all those Republicans down there got it. And we can see that the president can't even take the advice of his own people.
And his spokesperson, remember? The spokesperson, the lady, Kylie, she said, if you take a test now, you're going to have to take a test another day and another day and another one, because you can get it anytime.
Yeah.
Time period. Just because you tested negative, it doesn't mean anything. She even said that.
Yeah. Even if you now have it in your system. And so, what?
This is fake news.
Oh, it's fake news. Oh, I see, Phil. I want to hear this one. Come on.
On a ventilator, Trump.
Somebody to serve the president Kentucky Fried Chicken. He can open the box himself. You know, how can this guy have COVID that serves him food? He
does
doesn't.
eat fast food, Trump.
Yeah.
He probably gets Uber Eats to the White House.
I mean, it could very well be this guy went down there without a mask on, said hello and blew in the face of all his Republican friends, and they're all going to come down with COVID.
That would be nice.
The president
Fighting for their life.
What? We couldn't hear you because somebody else was talking, Phil.
Oh,
for a
I bet you
change.
the president makes his food server wear a mask.
No, he didn't.
Uh,
He didn't wear a mask. In fact, he doesn't like any of the people who work with him to wear masks.
Who is that mask man?
Yeah. I mean, if the Lone Ranger went to work with him, he made him take the mask off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yes, Jeff.
Plus, his assistant,
Mm-hmm.
Trump, says, I really don't even know who the guy is.
Yeah, and yet he serves him food every night.
Right.
Well, I believe that. I believe he's so self-obsessed he doesn't care about the help. You
I think
know?
he also helps him get dressed.
Huh?
That's his job, is to get him dressed.
Imagine if you had to lay his clothes out every day. I'd probably have different clothes. Never.
The valet don't all you guys have? That's called a valet that helps you get dressed. And don't
No. This was a steward.
A steward.
The guy was a steward. Yes.
Not a Jeffrey, but a steward.
A steward. Yeah,
No,
that's what
it's
they
called-
called them. I was in the Navy. I know what they are. You know, as opposed to you, who never served any military time.
No. But I carried a gun. Did you?
Huh? Yes, I did.
carried
Yes, I
a gun.
did. As a matter of fact. Yes, I
Yeah?
did. Hmm. And as a matter of fact, when I first went into the Navy, we had to do shooting of firearms at targets, and I was considered to be excellent.
Oh, I bet you were.
And I was. I was very good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
You turned off to them after the incident with your friend?
no, that happened a long time earlier. But when I was in the Navy, we were required to do that. So, I mean, I couldn't get out of it.
Yeah.
So I had to muster up. And plus, there was a rifle. It wasn't a handgun.
Ah. All right.
Yeah. And they said, "Oh, you're a marksman. You're very good."
Yeah. You didn't shoot anybody.
No, I shot at targets, Phil.
That's how you become a marksman in the Navy. Nobody died.
Then they also made us go into a room with tear gas.
Yeah.
And then take off our masks.
Yeah, I've done that. That was during the training. They exposed the cops to tear gas and to let you see what it feels like.
And I'll never forgive the United States government for doing that to me. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, hello, Kevin. How are you?
Good. How are you, Alex?
Yeah. Are you hoping for our president to come down with COVID so that he can change his tune?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, I mean, if he gets it, he's in a prime risk group
Yeah, he may not make it.
because he's so fat.
Yep.
No, he's not. 139.
139. 239.
Yeah, he always thinks he's perfect.
He's 1 pound under obese.
It was 1 pound under obese.
Yeah.
Oh boy, yeah. So you know he's in a prime risk group. So you know, I mean, I don't wish him death, but I think a good case of COVID would be nice.
How about a little scare wouldn't hurt nobody?
You know, because I mean, after all, he is responsible for the death of what 75,000 people in this country on his watch.
Jesus Christ.
That's a lot of people.
That guy gets you, doesn't it, Phil? But it's on his watch.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
Wait, what kind of
stupid.
watch is that? Timex?
It's like the
See, immediately when you don't have an answer, you pull a joke. Or what you? Oh, wait a minute.
I'm hooked up to a.
You
ventilator.
allegedly pull a joke.
Also on Cuomo's watch. That
Yeah, but he's trying to do something about it, and this president just got his finger up his ass. Yes, yes, Kevin.
Have you seen the new campaign commercial?
No.
Biden.
Yeah.
New Trump commercial?
The Trump one that came out today, I think.
Yeah, and he's got Cuomo in it, and he's got
it's
Newsom.
a good minute of, look at what I did. He's using all kinds of stuff from the COVID and how Newsom says, promises made, promises kept. Oh, he crammed that thing full of stuff. I can't wait to see what Biden's is going to be.
Cuomo's been nice enough to thank him for things that he has done. Okay? Will you let me finish, Phil?
He used so many clips in that thing that's just such bullshit.
Yeah, but they were taken out of context too.
Way out of context.
Well, anytime you cut little pieces and you put them into a minute commercial, that's got to be out of context,
As soon as I saw that, I went, oh boy, Biden ought to go to Rob Alfano and have him make a commercial.
Biden commercial would be him sniffing a lot of different little kids' hair. I'd like to see that.
Is that all the bad stuff you have to say about Biden? That he sniffs hair? That's all you ever come up with?
Hey, he sends me pictures. It's scary.
Say about that, and the Me Too movement.
He's always a little friendly.
Where are they in this one?
Yeah. By the way, that accuser of his.
Women that Trump abused.
I have one thing to say about his accuser, Biden's accuser. What the fuck happened to her?
I know she looked great when she got.
Yes,
she did.
But then again, I look in the mirror and go, "What the fuck happened to me?" So who am I to talk?
Yeah. You can't say much, right?
Yeah, right.
I did the same thing.
In all honesty, I would have abused her too. When she was younger, she was hot.
I never abused any woman, Phil. I never thought of abusing a woman.
Just having to go out with you was abuse.
Boy, you think you're on an imaginary roll tonight, don't you?
Yeah.
He is.
This is my favorite lines of all time. Richard Lewis was on with Bobby Slayton on my show in San Francisco, and Bobby was riffing along and everything, and Lewis says, "Bobby, I hate to bother you in the midst of an imaginary role."
Yeah. So, has any Alex? You've heard that Bob Rubin is going to on the 16th is going to have his Netflix special, and it's due in part to his friend Patton Oswalt.
Yes,
Oswalt.
I know.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm just putting it out there.
When's that supposed to be?
May 16th, Netflix, and I believe one of Oswalt's episodes that he's getting in there. They melded it into it, so it's not just his special, but his special is featured, introed, and outroed by Patton Oswalt.
Yeah. So?
What do you mean? So?
I don't hear from him anymore.
He's busy. He's making money, maybe. But
who? He's not going to make money off of that.
You don't think so?
No, not at all. Not at all. When you are, haven't you heard some of the things that some comedians have said about Netflix? About how if you want your show on Netflix, fine, that's all well and good. But if you're not a big, well-known comic, you're going to give it to them for practically nothing.
Well, that's a possibility, but practically nothing is more than what he was getting before the thing. And you were one of the guys who donated to allow him to make that special.
Did I? I can't remember. Did I? I think I did send him some money.
Me, Renee, maybe a few other people.
Yeah, but I never hear from him anymore. I try to get a hold of him, he never calls back. So
you want me to get a hold of him? He answers me.
Well, he doesn't answer me. So
so
fuck him.
Maybe you got bad breath.
No, I don't know. He, So anyway, Where were we after you so rudely interrupted us with?
Yeah, well, I was just trying to promote.
Well, you could have done it at a time when we weren't talking about other stuff.
Well, you were talking about comedy and Bobby Slayton and Richard Lewis, so I figured I'd just impart that.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, we are, I think, at a real crossroads here. How many here think it's going to get worse in the rest of the country? I know things are getting a little better here in New York, but how many think it's going to, do you think it's not going to get worse, Kevin?
Oh, it's going to get
Well, then
worse.
raise your goddamn hand.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. And Tony doesn't raise his hand either.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Sorry, teacher.
because I think when the weather gets warm, like if it gets better, I think they're gonna flock to the parks and the beaches if they don't close them, and I think it's gonna.
Oh, yeah.
That's gonna be a telltale effect. Then I think.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem.
You know why I think it's going to get worse?
No, I don't want to know why.
Okay. Fine.
No, why do you think it's going to get worse?
Yeah, it will get worse, and I'll tell you why.
Well, why? Because of course it's Biden's fault.
No. There's more testing. So with more testing, there'll be more positives. That's all.
You hope there's more testing.
Yeah, there's
We need more testing in Texas.
well, that Texas, who needs, they'll go and do what they do. But there's more testing all over the place. And if you didn't test, you don't know if people have cases.
That doesn't mean they don't have the cases.
No, I said that there's going to be more.
Phil,
Phil,
you're talking about tests. We're talking about deaths.
Oh, I was saying
The death rate has gone up everywhere, but in New York.
I said there'd be more cases because there's more testing.
No, but forget about the testing, Phil. A death from COVID is a death from COVID. Don't you understand?
How do you identify the COVID if you don't test them?
Because they go to the hospital, they put them on a respirator, and they say, "Oh, he died of COVID."
That's the people that need a respirator.
Well, there are a lot of people who die at home that we have not been able to register, that we don't know about. The death rate may be much higher in this country than it is already, and so therefore the death rate on Trump's watch is going to be even larger than it is already.
Are you mainlining oxygen so you can speak long enough to go over me like this?
Listen, if in order to shut you up, they had to put a respirator down my throat, I'd do it to get enough air to shut you up.
Okay, have fun.
What?
Time to walk.
What is he taking another walk?
I don't know.
Just having a drink of water.
Oh, okay.
Delicious.
What? Last night you took a walk.
Yeah.
I had to pee. What is wrong with you guys?
Do you know, I went through this whole thing where they turned my prostate into they turned my prostate into a pin cushion so that it's the size of a baseball and the pee has a hard time getting out of it. And do I get up and go to the bathroom while this show is on? No.
And they called me 6 times. So I sent it to voicemail 5 times. Finally, I said, I better answer it. And I went in the other room. Oh. You want me to be on the phone? No.
I'll tell you else. Somebody want to call my phone? I can talk to them. No, don't call me.
All right.
Don't call me. I'm sorry I gave you my number. Anyway. So,
it was written on the bathroom wall.
I see.
Fonzie.
Okay. Yep.
Right.
Anyway, so I just think that Trump should take a little more responsibility for what's gone on. Instead, we got to see Jared get out there and say, "We've been doing a great job. Yes, we have." Boy, boy, it's just gotten ridiculous. Oh, and I wonder if he comes down with COVID, what happens to Melania? Oh, well, she doesn't have a chance of getting it. So anyway,
Does she sleep in the Lincoln?
I'll let you think about that one for a while, folks.
Does she sleep in the Lincoln bedroom?
She sleeps in a lot of bedrooms, my friend.
That is.
Because a woman that age is still horny, and she ain't getting any from that fat fuck.
Yeah.
No, he's been pretty active over the last, years before.
No, in the past,
Yeah,
not recently.
yeah,
You know,
kind of like us.
I have an excuse, and so do you, as a matter of fact.
I know.
You know what'd be funny, Alex? If Barack Obama separated from Michelle Obama and started dating Melania. That would drive me crazy.
He wouldn't
He would
because Michelle would kill him.
Enough.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't have enough money.
Who doesn't have enough money?
Doesn't have enough money. I think he's worth 120 million.
I don't know. I think Obama's probably getting wealthier than that. He's got a lot of TV deals. Her book did amazingly well. Has his book come out yet? I'm trying to remember. I don't think so. I think his book is still waiting to come out. That's the way they wind up making a lot of money. You know? But hell, if Kylie Jenner can be a billionaire, anybody can be a billionaire. Okay.
You see that tush? That's $1 billion tush.
Yeah. Well,
How do they get tushes like that? All of those Kardashians and Jenners and
surgery. Yeah.
Botox.
Although I think Kim came by hers naturally.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the porno tape of her and Ray J? I think it was.
No.
Yeah. And they're having sex, and he's having sex with her from the rear, and you can't see anything because just everything's being engulfed by this giant, massive.
So you got to tie a 2x40 to your ass so you'll fall in and drown.
Yep. But anyway, so I wonder how the Kardashians. I guess their wealth's probably doing okay, but I mean, they all the businesses they were in. I'll tell you who was in business, and they say is in real trouble now. Disney.
Yeah.
Because it turns out, when you think about it, all of Disney's holdings are theme parks, movies, all the things. Very few things that are accessible anywhere else but going out to them.
So they opened their channel up just in time.
And it's doing okay. It's doing all right, but the rest of the business, they're going to be down something like 40% this year.
Yeah.
They say.
They just opened up their theme park. Was it in Japan?
Reopened it. No, in Shanghai.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they reopened it.
I don't know that I'd want to go to a place with all of that people. I went to the one in Orlando, Animal Kingdom or something, Disney, and there were so many people there.
It's called Disney World. Yes, go ahead.
And these people are the kids are crying. Mm-hmm. The parents are upset. Why would anybody want to go to one of those things? It's got to be torture,
What?
Yeah, that's fun.
It was fun for us.
I'll tell you, I had a good time. I was trying to convince Marjorie to go to Disney World just for the hell of it, and she won't go. I don't want to go there. She didn't want to go to Vegas either.
Yeah,
I said, look, no, Vegas for 2 days is okay. I used to have to go down there and spend 5 days working conventions, but I picked up a lot of money with those blowjobs. But working the conventions electronic convention, and 5 days. After 5 days, you want to blow your brains out.
Is that CTS? Is that convention? The electronic one?
You mean the CBS?
No, it's
CS.
Yeah, it's the name of that electronic convention.
The Consumer Electronics Show, Phil.
Yeah, I see the stuff that comes out afterwards.
I went there every year for like 5 or 6 years straight.
Yeah.
But I mean, spending more than 2 days in that town will just drive you up a wall. But I mean, Disney World wasn't bad. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
There's that tram that goes from one part of Disneyland to It's a Small World After All.
Is that Anaheim you're talking about?
No, this is in Disney World.
Oh.
I actually got a blowjob on that.
All right, ruin it for the rest of us.
Huh?
Mini?
My kids were on that ride.
Well, the reason we did is because it was that time of the year where it was very small, a very low attendance rate at Disney World. That time of the year that we went, and in fact, there was so low attendance that when we went on the It's a Small World After All, you know how you go from one segment to another to another. We went to one of the segments, and all the little dolls that they have, all the animatronic dolls, were playing cards with each other. They were just, so nobody was paying enough attention to them. So, but what it was, I had a friend, Billy J. This is a true story. Said he went down to Disney World. They decided, let's go on the It's a Small World After All ride. Okay. So what you do is you go through this thing, and it's kind of like you're in a boat or whatever, if I remember correctly. Right. And then as you turn, there are the kids from Holland, and you turn somewhere else, and there's a very racist African pavilion in It's a Small World After All, where they're going booga 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 booga. You know, I looked at it and I went, this is awfully racist. But anyway, he told me the story about how he went on it and it broke down. Oh. And he was stuck in one place for about 45 minutes. He said, I never want to hear that goddamn song again.
Oh, that's torture. I've been stuck for about 5 minutes.
Because it's on a loop, and the loop kind of stops, so then when you do the turnaround to the next corner, that loop picks up, and it was da 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 over and over and over and over and over, same language, because he was stuck.
Yeah, exactly.
He said it was like dripping water on his head. It became torture after a while.
It is. It is.
You know what ride I like? The teacups, but they're a little scary. You know,
there are only little kids on that.
Oh yeah, well, I like teacups.
Yeah,
my kid would want to go on that ride like 2 or 3 times. I said no, that's it.
Teacups.
The teacups.
It just broke.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, the Small World one.
Oh, the Small World one. Oh, that.
Yeah, I could only go on that twice. I said that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
No mas.
Universal Studios is pretty good.
Universal.
Yeah.
So when we go to LA, we'll go to Universal. They have some good rides, the movie rides. They like all the superhero stuff, and they have one. It's the Garden of the Galaxies, and it's like a huge tower. And so basically, you're in like the shaft, the elevator shaft, and all of a sudden it just goes up and it stops at one.
Wait a minute, hold on a second. Guardians of the Galaxy is Marvel, so that would be in Disney World. That would be in Disneyland.
No.
Because Universal doesn't own that.
Oh, really? Maybe I'm getting confused then.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they take you to one, and you're at one level. And they have all this stuff going on, and then they drop you to like 3 or 4 stories down. They take you all the way back up to the top, and there's this nice view out there, and you sort of relax. Yeah. For me, going down is the drop. Going up is fun, but coming down, and they drop you like 5 stories just straight.
Well, I just don't like rides that scare the crap out of me. You know, I don't need that. Hello there, Bree. By the way,
thank you. Grow up.
Yeah. I don't like rides that scare me. I'm terrorized enough just by living. You know, so I don't need to be terrorized by some ride. Do you ever go to Disney World, Jeff? Turn on your yeah. What?
Yes, I went in California, I think when I was like a teenager or something like that.
Yeah, that's Disneyland. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I took my kids, my 2 oldest kids, to Florida.
Yeah, that's Disney World.
Yeah, and that was okay. But the one that I always remember is in Brooklyn, which was not them; it was somebody else.
In Brooklyn?
It used to be pretty wild.
Bronx.
No, not Bronx.
Oh,
there was
Fair.
You mean the
64 World's Fair?
No,
that was in Flushing.
That was in Flushing. No, it's in Brooklyn, and they had this stuff that was, I think, was there from the 30s.
Coney Island.
Was
Yeah,
it Freedom something?
Coney Island.
Coney Island. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was totally different, and it was a little scary for most people, and it was not for young kids.
Yeah.
By the way, I just noticed something about Bree. Bree, in this whole lockdown, you've grown a beard.
Yeah.
It may be going today. We'll see.
Yeah, I haven't shaved in a week now. Why? Ask Jeff. Jeff hasn't shaved in
Alex, what was that?
Your show. You're the host. You got to be looking good.
You got to be looking good in a hot self. Yeah. What did you say?
In San Francisco, they used to have something over on the beach that closed down maybe a year or two before I moved here. It was
the Playland at the beach.
Playland at the beach.
Playland, yeah.
Yeah, I'd never been there when it was open.
And they had Laughing Lena.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Remember Laughing Lena?
Oh yeah.
Explain to them what Laughing
lady
Lena.
in the town.
Huh? What?
She was a creepy lady.
She was in the fun house. And she was in the window of the fun house laughing. Ha, big fat.
She's over at Pier 39 now, I think.
Oh, really? Because I know they kept her and somebody bought her and put her somewhere,
Yeah, she's at Pier 39 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one place right on the pier near Pier 39, and it's a warehouse, and it's full of all old machines. And you can go in there and you can see all these really old.
Yeah, they're all a quarter or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
They used to have them out by the Cliff House.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is either Pier 39 or Fisherman's Wharf or in between the two is where they have that. When I was a kid, my parents took me to Montreal to Expo 67, and I had never, I thought that was pretty neat. They had the monorail, they had other stuff, and in 1967 that was pretty advanced stuff.
Yeah.
Anybody else go to Expo?
Well, no, they had the Pan American Exposition in San Francisco in 1939.
Oh, what
was that the World's Fair in 39 that was on Treasure Island, or was it a Pan American Exposition?
Well, it was Pan American, but I thought it was 1950.
No, wait a minute. No, the Pan American Exposition was down where the marina is. The marina was built. That landfill was built for that. But the World's Fair was in 1939 on Treasure Island.
Yeah, the Palace of Fine Arts was built for the exposition.
That's correct. You are correct. And then it's been rebuilt,
Yeah,
because it was all built out of plaster of Paris. It wasn't meant to last, and it started falling apart in about 49, 50. I remember they started rebuilding it and putting a new facade on it so it would last forever. So.
If any of you guys from other parts of the world Google the Palace of Fine Arts in San Francisco, it is just a magnificent place.
No, it's not.
Oh, well, and not inside.
It is the worst piece of art I've ever seen in my life. To begin with,
a lot of the opera singers and symphony people go down into the bellows of that thing and practice.
Oh, really? Inside?
Yeah, once in a while you can walk by.
You mean under the dome?
No, down below.
Oh, underground?
And
underneath it I guess they got rooms and stuff down there, places you can go down there because the acoustics.
Because there's a place in the dome where you can stand. They have a little marker, and you can stand there and clap, and it just reverberates.
Yeah, and they probably go in there too. But I've heard it where you don't see anybody, but you can hear like an opera singer singing down there and tuning up, or a violin or something like that.
Well, I lived a block away from there. Every New Year's, I would hold my Alex Bennett show at the Palace of Fine Arts in their auditorium there. So I only had to walk. Well, how did I put it? I only had to walk 1 block to make $10,000. So I thought it was pretty terrific. But no, it is. If you look at it, it's the worst piece of art ever created.
Oh, I think it's beautiful.
Oh, really? Take a look up at the very top. There are these women who are nude, but they're all facing inward, like they're throwing up into the thing. I mean, it's just bad.
They're like gargoyles or grotesques.
No, they're women. literally women. And I went, well, maybe they'll be on the outside, kind of like this. But no, they're leaning forward inside, like they're throwing up into the Palace of Fine Arts.
Yeah. What's inside?
Nothing.
Well, I know there's nothing. It used to be exploratorium.
It's a bad piece of art, but it's kitsch. It's what I call kitsch.
I love looking at it.
Huh?
Yeah.
Good for you. So, you like bad art. Yes, yes, Jeff.
So Phil, you were mentioning going to Canada.
Yeah, Expo, yeah.
To Expo. So I went there, and the Expo was not there at the time, but Pam and I went, and I don't know, we figured we'd spend a weekend there. It was just nothing to do. We get off the airplane there, and all of a sudden this cop comes over, and he says, all right, the two of you go inside. What the hell's going on? They asked us questions for like 2.5 hours.
Really?
Yep.
This is Montreal.
Montreal. Had no idea what we did or what we didn't do or why. And it just went on for 2 hours at least. And then finally they kind of said, all right, it's over.
Did they do it in English at least?
Yes.
They speak French there.
Yes, they can speak both usually, yeah.
Somebody tipped you off as a drug runner or something.
I don't know what the hell it was.
Yeah. Well, Expo 67 was pretty neat for a 13-year-old,
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, somebody wrote here, Expo 67 was a Montreal triumph. Actually, it's pronounced Montreal.
Yeah.
Montreal, yeah.
Wow.
Montreal, yeah.
Control.
Yeah. I went there with a pinched nerve once. I went to they have a comedy festival there every year, the Just for Laughs festival. And I went to do my show from there. And just before I left, I literally pinched a nerve or pulled it, and I couldn't sit up straight without it hurting. I couldn't lie down, so I went and I got some work done on it, but it wasn't enough. So throughout the entire time I was in Montreal, I did my show in the morning, I went back to the hotel, took a couple of really heavy painkillers, and slept through my whole time in Montreal.
Wow.
And I remember once, I can't remember who it was. It was a comedian that I used to have on my show regularly, and he said, so when I did your show in Montreal, I said, you were on that show? I couldn't remember anybody who was there. I mean, it was horrible. I never had such bad pain in my life. Well, Charlie's been quiet. Charlie, you got anything to say about the events of the day? Wait a minute, is he there?
Charlie?
Charlie? Is he frozen?
He's moving.
Is he moving?
There.
Oh, I'm talking.
No, we couldn't hear you.
No, I said no. I'm just saying that I hope that the Trump gets the coronavirus from his steward. That's all.
Me too.
The governor was with him today.
The Texas governor. Your Texas governor was with him.
Yeah, he should get it too.
Hey, how about that hair cutter in Texas that got arrested and she wouldn't apologize, and the guy threw her in the slammer?
Yeah, and then the governor got him out.
Another judge overruled it, I guess. But I think that he was being punitive. Why should she have to apologize? She's just trying to make a living and feed her kids. Everybody has
having no respect for other human beings.
No, because you have a choice whether you're going to go get your hair cut by her or not. You don't have to go there.
They have a choice to follow the law too.
Yeah, well,
and also
this is what kind of pisses me off about that whole thing. Is it, they're doing this to kind of keep control of what's going on, and it's like I saw a guy at the grocery store today, and it says all over the front door, you got to wear a mask to be in the store. And this guy walks right in, and he stands there at the deli counter. He ain't got shit on, no gloves, no face mask, no nothing. I'm just staring at him, going, Who the heck are you, man? I mean, what makes you better than me? I don't want to wear the mask, but I'm wearing it, and I don't get it, And I wanted to ask him, and I just kept my mouth shut. And I wanted to say something. I go, do you run red lights too? I mean, they tell you to stop at the red lights. Why do you not stop at red lights?
Somebody said he was going to make up somebody.
I don't understand it. I just don't understand the whole frickin' thing.
Somebody said they were going to have T-shirts made up, and when they came up against people who weren't wearing masks, he would hand them this T-shirt to wear that says, "I have no respect for other people."
Why don't they just give them a mask?
You know, I mean,
well, I was going to go get one out of my truck and hand it to him, because I got extras, and it was like, what kind of conflict I was going to get into.
Kevin, you're hoarding masks. You're worse than the Chinese. You're hoarding masks.
I got a lady around the corner.
They're more, Phil. They're more than what?
Tweet the White House that you got some masks for $10 million. See how that goes for you.
Yeah.
You're very likely to become a rich person.
And a $1 billion deal on masks with the Chinese. That he was a beneficiary of.
Who was?
Newsom. I understand that.
Newsom? No, I heard, in fact, that the Trump family has made money out of this whole thing, and their cronies.
God, you and Schiff,
Well, you and whoever gave you that lousy piece of information.
The thing is, the reason why I don't get so upset about it is because I tend to think that everyone does it. So I don't think that Trump and his family are necessarily different in that regard. But I do think that they could be doing. They're probably doing a lot more.
Do you know who got $1 billion from Trump? One of his closest friends, the guy who runs Holland American Tours, or the Panama cruise ship line that has the Princess and so on. That's one of his close friends. He got $1 billion. Okay? Now, if that doesn't make you mad, Phil, then you are an idiot.
Well, I got 60 grand.
I didn't get my check yet. I'm still waiting.
You didn't get your check?
Not yet. I was going to show it to you when I get it.
Did you pay?
I didn't get it yet.
Did you pay income tax last year?
Yeah.
Okay.
You better go on that site.
So they're hopefully
put in your info.
Hey, Tony, they found out about all of your comic book money, and they knew that you made too much to get the check. And Tony's actually a billionaire. He's done it on.
What I'm going to do is when I get the check, I'll show it to you on air because I want to show you his signature. I want to see what it looks like. Economic impact. I showed you what it looked like, Phil.
Oh well, if they just simply deposit it to your account, you don't get a check, so you don't get a signature, but you will get an email from him with his signature on it.
Oh, you will?
Yeah, right, Jeff.
I got a letter. With his signature.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for it. I ran down to the mail today.
How long did it last as toilet paper, Charlie?
It didn't even last 5 seconds.
Wow. So it isn't worth the paper you wipe it on, huh?
No.
Where the hell's my check? I thought maybe today I might get it, but nothing. I went down to the mail like a
Marjorie
demon.
and I got like $1,100. What's this all about? I thought we were supposed to get $2,400. I mean, we don't deserve it because Marjorie is working. We do have money coming in. She's not out of work. But if the guy who runs the Panama cruise line can get $1 billion, I think I could at least get $2,400.
Why is he getting it?
Because those poor cruise ships, and they're not even registered in the United States. They're all registered in Panama.
There is a lot of people that work and make their living around those cruise ships in all ports in the United States.
No. Where do those cruise ships go, Phil?
They go to Long Beach. They go to
Phil. Wrong. Phil. Wrong. Phil, you're wrong. You're wrong. They leave those ports. They go to other ports in other countries, like in Panama and so on. Most of the ports that make money off of those cruise ships are not in the United States. They leave from the United States. So you're full of crap, Phil. You're wrong. You're wrong. Everybody drink. You're wrong.
Well, I just sent you the Los Angeles Times article.
When the sun goes down.
Newsom's secretive $1 billion mass deal with Chinese that sparks bipartisan concerns.
Well, because he had to get the mask from somewhere since the government wasn't giving them to him.
Yeah,
So he bought it from China.
made by Honeywell. But I sent you and I sent everybody the article. You know, you can see.
Don't send me that crap anymore, Phil. I don't read it. You're wasting your time by sending it.
Well, I bring up a topic. You say it doesn't
Well,
exist.
what I'm saying is that yes, he bought them, but everybody else was jumping over each other and paying the highest dollar to get some of the PPE. Our governor here was, everybody was like fighting against everybody else to get the money to get the equipment they needed, and they were paying some pretty outlandish prices for it. There was a story about one woman who worked for, I can't remember what state, maybe it was Colorado or something, and she actually had to drive 600 miles to some like parking lot to give somebody cash for face masks.
Oh my God,
I mean, that's how bad it was getting in this bidding war, because the government didn't say to everybody, okay, look, why don't we start this pool and everybody will take from the pool and whatever, because that would take administration. That would take the ability to run a company, which of course Trump has no expertise in, as is obvious by his bankruptcies.
Obama and Biden in 2009, when they had that pandemic, was that when SARS? They depleted all the stocks of respirators and masks and gowns and so forth, and didn't restock them. And that's why we are short today during this.
Oh, bullshit.
That's bullshit.
That's such bullshit.
Look at
So it took 9 years for that to happen?
Hey,
9 years?
9 years for us to find that out that happened?
Trump
That's
didn't
pretty bad inventory
get
control.
into office until
Trump had 3 years to replenish.
Phil, did you know that the government had a whole ton of what do you call respirators that they didn't? Wait a minute. That they didn't use, and if those things aren't turned on at least once a year, they don't work anymore. Am I right about that, Brian?
That,
Wait a minute. Listen to Brian. Listen.
was New Jersey.
Will you shut up, Phil? Listen to Brian. Yeah.
They have to cycle them. They have to cycle them and make sure everything's working inside still.
And they
Just
went
like
to
a
them.
generator. You have to exercise it.
Yeah.
Yes, storage.
And all of them were broken. All
Trump
of
should
them
have
were
gone
broken.
down to New Jersey and turned those things on himself. How dare he not let those things work properly? Well,
No,
sure.
he should have kept the group together that's supposed to do it, but he disbanded it.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. That's your efficient government operation, not turning those things on, and you want them to take care of our health care?
That's right. It's cut it out. It doesn't need it.
Yeah.
Well, in 2009,
I agree. We shouldn't have Republicans doing
they
it.
never refilled their stockpiles, and that's why we were.
Oh,
sitting-
I see. Yeah.
Brian has his
That's
hand up.
bullshit,
Brian,
Phil.
go ahead.
Bullshit.
That
Bullshit.
ambassador- The former ambassador said that 2016 they did an inventory, and that was their last inventory check, and they said everything was full.
I don't believe that because.
Well, you don't want to believe it, Phil, but
don't believe it.
Brian has no reason to lie. You do.
I don't have a reason to lie. Call me a liar?
Yeah.
What kind of fucking friends do?
I call you misinformed.
You're a dissembler.
What do you say, Brian? They actually checked to see if there were enough respirators. and
Yeah,
things.
that was what I said the other night. That former ambassador Rice, she went, she talked about the playbook. Yeah.
That's
Not
Obama.
Will you shut up for 1 second, Phil, and let somebody else talk?
Yeah.
Obama, who talked in 2014 about this pandemic, right? That's where they had the playbook. They gave everything to the current administration, just like Bush gave it to Obama. And they passed that on, and they said they did an inventory check in 2016. They were full. They were full and fine. Everything was going good.
Okay. Yes,
As a
Kevin.
matter of fact, they had the team that Bush turned over to Obama was so good, they wanted to outdo the Bush to the Bush to Obama transition team. The Obama to Trump wanted to overdo it to make it look even better, and they tried to do that, and they think they did, but Trump turned around and said, "Screw all that. We don't need all that," and just trashed it.
Trump is a businessman, and when he sees something and he sees it's not being used, just like he said it's not being used, they pushed all that stuff aside and closed the departments and let people go, and that's just how he is.
No, they moved them to other
business.
They moved them to other agencies.
What agencies,
Business,
Phil?
not government.
If you say they moved them to other agencies, let me know what agencies those are.
The guy with the mustache was that got fired by Trump.
Bolton.
What's his name?
Bolton.
Bolton.
Yeah.
Bolton was in charge of that agency. Was that the NSA?
What? That would be the NSA. It has nothing to do with the NSA.
To the Trump administration, his agency was in charge of that program, and he.
Why would they be in charge of that program?
That agency was in charge of the program.
Why?
I don't know why. It's the way it works in the government. And anyway,
when I think of NSA, I think medicine, of course.
Well, Bolton said he disbanded that pandemic deal, and he put it in. He didn't fund the pandemic deal, and he had other agencies within.
Which ones, Phil? Which ones? Which ones?
I don't know.
Well, then come up with that, and maybe we'll listen to you.
I'm looking up the last thing.
I thought it was pre-Bolton.
No. Bolton was the one that moved it to these other agencies. He defunded that pandemic one, and
I don't know about that.
Do it. Well, just look it up. I'm still looking up.
I know you'll look up, and you'll eventually find it somewhere, even if you have to go to Alex Jones.
Drudge will have it.
I'm on US Today with this one.
Hey, listen, Drudge Today these days doesn't like Trump any longer.
Yeah.
You know, they're not pals anymore.
Is Drudge
Natural News will have it. Natural News will have it.
I thought Drudge was dead. Somebody else took over.
Greatest presidency in the history
of
the United States.
Yeah. Drudge is dead. Somebody else took it over, Phil. Yeah, right. Are you thinking of Breitbart?
Yeah, I must be thinking.
Yeah, okay. Boy, Phil, and we have to trust you on all this other stuff?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's all them. They did it. Ask Alex.
Thank you, Alex Jones. Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah. I'm gonna eat my neighbors. Did you see that thing where he said he was gonna eat his neighbors and feed them to his kids if they were starving? Yeah. He's really terrific. He's the best. I like him. He's funny. He's very funny. Oh boy. Phil's gonna find. He's gonna find it somewhere.
I'm looking at the stockpile stuff.
Did you see the nurse, the president of the Nurses Association or whatever?
Yeah.
When they were talking about the sporadic shortages of PPE, and
Trump said,
corrected
"Oh, there are no sporadic," and he brought her to talk to him about the situation. The only thing I didn't like is the guy who's on at 11 o'clock on MSNBC though she said, well, he was very nice and he listened to what we had to say, and she said, but weren't you bothered by that? He kept trying to get her to say something negative about Trump, and she wouldn't. But the only reason she was there is because she was pro-Trump. They knew she wouldn't be any trouble. Anyway, guess what? Thank God it's the theme song. No. Hey, you've all been good tonight except for Phil. And we'll have to take it out of his pay.
I do my best to be good.
Yeah, you try. I know you.
Sleep, Phil. No messaging, please.
Thanks to Brian once again, Phil. Thank you, Charlie. Good having you here. Tony, terrific. Jeff, good to hear from you tonight. And Kevin, you're always a pleasure. And of course, our old friend from Malaysia. Yes, he's from Malaysia, folks. That's Bree. He's calling us all the way from the other side of the world. Anyway, that's it for tonight. Why don't you kind of all give a big wave goodbye, and I will give a big wave goodbye as well, okay? And then that's it. That's our citizen panel for tonight. Let me just turn everything off here. Anyway, Jack Bishop is next over most of this same GABNet. He will be here to treat you to some more conversation with citizen panels and the like. So why not give him a call? He's up next over most of this same GABNet. I'll see you again. You know when? I'll see you again tomorrow night. Same time, at 10:30, same time, same station in life. In the meantime, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye, everybody.